Welcome back to Boilers and Beyond. I'm Jordan Jones. Purdue nearly pulled off the largest comeback in program history yesterday at Illinois, but it fell just short as Purdue falls to 1-5, and the Purdue Cannon returns to Champaign for the first time since 2019. We're going to break down the game here today, a really wild one with a lot of ways we can approach this thing. Let's get on into it. If you don't already, be sure to follow the show on Twitter at Boilers Beyond. Lots to talk about there, no doubt, this week. Come join the conversation. And be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. You can always send in questions for the show on Twitter at Boilers Beyond, or you can email the show, boilersandbeyondpod@gmail.com. Illinois 50, Purdue 49. It almost doesn't even feel right to say that because it was so out of the blue. This game was truly a tale of two halves. You know, in the first half, what we saw was the same Purdue that we'd been seeing. We saw Purdue go to the locker room down 24-7. You saw Purdue that let a kickoff inexplicably drop that Illinois recovers there before the half. You just saw a lot of the bad stuff that you'd been seeing from Purdue all season. It was exactly what you thought it was going to be. But then the second half happened, and that's what makes this really interesting to talk about. Purdue came storming back. It happened right away on a big pass to Jamal Adrine. And then Purdue gets a strip sack that's ran in for a touchdown by Will Helt, and you have a flea flicker for a big play. And Purdue's just stacking these big plays, and Illinois got a little shell-shocked, I think. Illinois kind of froze up. Illinois, you don't want to be accusatory or speculative, but you feel like Illinois might have gone to the locker room at halftime and kind of thought they had this thing locked up. They didn't. I thought Illinois came out aggressive in the second half, and it worked against them, where it could have, just really tried to run the clock out and probably avoided near disaster. But Purdue fought really, really hard. Purdue fought in a way we haven't seen Purdue fight all season. The story here is Ryan Browne, the quarterback who filled in for Hudson Card. We found out Thursday or Friday that Card had a concussion. Word started to spread pretty good. But we found out that Card wasn't going to play. Ryan Browne gets his first career start, and what a day for him. 18 for 26, 297 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Also runs the ball 17 times for 118 yards. A really, really dynamic performance. Over 400 yards of total offense. It was an entirely different look on offense because Ryan Walters was calling the plays too. This was bizarro world. I mean, you have a head coach who, is kind of on the hot seat here, who has never called offensive plays before, calling the offensive plays in what felt like a bit of a desperation move with a quarterback who's very unproven, had only started once had never started in his career, only played extended snaps in one game, yet it works. It kind of works. It came out of nowhere. When I knew that Hudson Card wasn't going to play and I knew that Ryan Walters was calling the offense, expectations were low. But I think the familiarity with Illinois probably helped. Ryan Walters knows Illinois, knows what Illinois wants to do. That probably helped. Illinois probably wasn't planning on seeing Ryan Browne until very late in the week. Purdue kept it under wraps pretty well that Card had a concussion. I don't think that started to get out till later in the week. So Illinois probably didn't prepare for Ryan Browne a whole lot, and it showed. It was an entirely different offensive approach. Purdue did a lot of zone read stuff. Purdue threw it deep a ton. You saw Purdue break out more stuff that we haven't seen. You saw the flea flicker that worked to Max Clare, I believe. You saw the end around, the reverse to Armand Branch in overtime. The dude had played 14 snaps all season coming into this game, only plays one, and he scores on a reverse to give Purdue the chance to win it with a 2-point conversion in overtime. It was really something. It was really something. And, look, I don't know that is going to be sustainable all year. This does bring in the question of what Purdue's going to do with Ryan Browne and Hudson Card. I'm very interested to see. I don't think Hudson Card is some great big part of Purdue's problems, but Ryan Browne had some juice in this game. How much of that can translate week over week? Again, Illinois didn't prep for him. Other opponents will. Oregon will be ready for either quarterback. That is what makes this really, really interesting. Is this something that Ryan Browne can do week over week when opponents are probably more prepared for him running and for him throwing it deep? Because what we saw yesterday, a lot of deep passes, a lot of short passes, not a lot of intermediate passes. What he looks like in that type of a situation will be interesting when defenses are planning for him. But a great performance, one that should go down as a pretty impressive backup quarterback performance. I know Purdue fans like to talk about how they always get backup quarterbacks that go crazy on them. The Notre Dame tight end from around 2000 or so, Rocky Lombardi a couple of years back. Wisconsin's probably beaten Purdue with a backup at some point. But, hey, this was Purdue getting its backup quarterback a fantastic day. The offense hummed, over 500 yards of offense. Devin Mockabee goes for 102 yards on just 11 attempts, 133 through the air for Max Clare. Jerron Tibbs had a nice day. All in all, this was a really nice day for Purdue on the offensive side of the ball. Is Ryan Walters calling the offense moving forward? I have no clue. Walters didn't have an answer for that after the game. Again, this is really just strange stuff. We are in a very strange spot here with this team, but the defense is still a problem. Illinois is a fine football team. Illinois is pretty good. Illinois puts up 556 yards of offense on you. That's not going to work, to say the least. That's not going to work. The defense missed too many tackles. The defense got a little bit of pass rush, but 397 or 379 yards on 20 completions. I mean, come on now. Purdue's defense has a long way to go. Purdue's secondary really struggled, but ultimately that's what did it in. It was early on in the game when Illinois built up a 24-3, 27-3, I think 27-3 lead before Purdue started to come back. That's how this game was decided. That's how the game was decided. And Purdue's very limited with a defense that struggles as much as this one. I think you kind of saw the best that can happen on Saturday. A couple of thoughts here, lots of talk about the fumble potentially from Luke Altmaier on Illinois' last possession. Pretty close. That's pretty close. That's completely valid for fans to be upset about that one. I didn't have a problem with Purdue going for two and going for the win at the end of the first overtime. I don't mind it. I hear the arguments on both sides. I fully get that you're the hot team and you can extend the game and the pressure's on Illinois. I get it. I can see it. I personally think that going for the win as the underdog, I think that's a pretty good way to go. Honestly, I do. Clearly didn't work. The play got blown up, but when you're the underdog like that and you've come all this way, How much longer do you want to play? I don't know. You can go either way there. Purdue also was attempting its third 2-point conversion of the game, and I don't think you want to be doing that. You only have so many 2-point plays that if you're kind of running out, that's probably not ideal, but you were going to have to use them anyways. You were going to, if the game kept going, you were going to get to the overtimes where it turns into a 2-point shootout. So, look, big picture here. I don't know how much this changes things. Obviously, this season has not gone as Purdue hoped. Now you've lost a rivalry trophy that you've dominated over the last 2 decades. It doesn't help. Coming in and doing what Purdue did yesterday was awesome. And if Purdue had won that game, it would have been the most improbable win that I can remember. That's a bigger point spread upset than when Purdue beat Ohio State with Rondale Moore. That's a far bigger point spread upset than when Purdue beat Iowa and Michigan State when they were ranked in the top 5 a couple years ago. I don't think this changes much. I still think you're looking at this as a pretty untenable situation. Whether that changes from Purdue's perspective or not, I don't know. But the last 2 weeks, it feels like Purdue has pulled out all the stops. Purdue has pulled out everything it can to try to make this work, to try to salvage something, and it's had mixed results. It didn't work last week. It worked all right yesterday. We're going to see reality coming up. Purdue has Oregon, then a bye week, then 5 straight conference games. Purdue has 4 ranked teams left, including 3 that are in the top 5 with Penn State, Ohio State, and Oregon. We're at the halfway point of the season. This was the easier half, and you went 1-5. So that's not ideal. What can you do in the back half? Is there anything you can do in the back half to make people believe that this is going to be something that can still work? I don't know. We'll find out. I really don't know what to expect here. This season has just been a whirlwind. I can't believe we're only 6 games in. It has had something for everyone. It really has. And now we'll see what happens when Purdue hosts Oregon. Purdue's a 30-point underdog there. It's not exactly a game you plan on winning, but can you compete? Can you make it competitive? Can you, I don't know, keep Fox viewers tuned in into the second half? And then we'll see where Purdue goes at the bye week, because that's kind of your reset point for those last 5 games. So, look, a weird one yesterday. Just a really weird game. There's just not that much to say. I guess on the Ryan Browne Hudson Card thing, it was very interesting how much different the offense looked from a construction standpoint, because it was designs that we just have never seen Purdue do with Hudson Card. I have always thought that Purdue's afraid of getting him hurt. That's always been my running theory. Maybe that's not true. I've always thought it is. It kind of adds up when you look at how different the play calling was yesterday, because Hudson Card can move. He's not a statue back there, but Purdue never tries to move him around. I thought it was a really good offensive game plan, especially in the second half when Purdue started to get more comfortable. The only question at that point was it too little, too late? And probably. We'll see. We'll see what happens this week. Walters will talk with the media tomorrow afternoon. We'll see if he gets on the topic of the quarterbacks. But a real bummer to lose this game, but a real accomplishment to be in it. And I know that losing close games to Illinois should not be a moral victory when you're at Purdue. This is a rivalry game that you expect to win. But it felt like a win. It really did feel like, for the first time since the Indiana State game, Purdue gave people reason to celebrate and reason to be optimistic. Can we see more of that over the next 6 weeks? We're going to find out. But I know this was a little shorter episode. I just don't have that much to say that hasn't already been said. Another great game for Kydron Jenkins. 10 tackles, 2.5 for loss. Moving him back to edge rusher has been really big. He and Will Helt had a good day yesterday. That kick return just blows my mind. That was such a killer for Purdue. But anyways, that's all I have for today. Thank you for spending your time with me. We'll be back later this week to preview Purdue against Oregon. Until then, send in your questions on Twitter at BoilersBeyond. Let me know what you want me to talk about. We'll preview the Ducks later this week. Until then, take care.